This is Oswego, an American town. It lies on the shore of Lake Ontario, facing Canada. From Oswego, barges can move by canal and inland waterways down to Florida, 1,500 miles away. It looks like a lot of other American towns. There's one main street. There's one newspaper to let people know what's happening in the town and in the world. There's a courthouse to see that justice is done, a public high school, and 14 churches. It's a peaceful town, shade trees and quiet parks. But not so long ago, it was Indian territory, hunting grounds of the Iroquois, whose 5 nations are still celebrated in the names of the streets. It is far from any battlefront today, but the postman carries letters which were written close to the enemy. Through its sons, Oswego is a living part of the struggle for a free world. The young men have gone to war. And back home, the rest of the family gets up early to go to work. Mrs. Sunke has 3 sons in the service. One of these factories makes boilers for the Navy and tanks for the Army. It turns out 2 tanks a day. Not many, but it turns them out every day of the year. But some of the people of Oswego, like John Scanlon, the mayor, decided there was more to fighting a war than making weapons. When President Roosevelt proclaimed United Nations Day, Mayor Scanlon called a meeting to discuss a growing idea. Instead of one day, why not a United Nations week? Why not invite fighting men of America's allies to Oswego, to give the people a chance to get acquainted with them, to invite them into their homes? The people liked the idea. Professor Wells, French instructor in the normal school, and his wife, volunteered to be host to one of the guests. So did President Sweatman of the Teachers College. And so did Louis Duda, a telephone lineman, and his wife. The preparations began. Carpenters and painters went to work getting ready to honor the United Nations. Oswego began to take on an international look. At last, everything was ready. The first day began with a parade, led by American soldiers from a nearby camp. And the visitors from the United Nations. One American town honoring the fighting men of all the free peoples united in a common cause. When the review was over, the men were besieged for their autographs. Martin Broughton, Norwegian. Charles Troublin, Belgian. John Parks, Canadian. Andrzej Misłakowski, Pole. Jean Delouche, Frenchman. Ralph Einung, Norwegian. They were formally welcomed by the mayor, proud to tell the town who these men were and what they had done. A pledge was made, written for the occasion by the people of Oswego themselves. As people of a united city, we pledge to sustain the democratic way of life against all tyranny. We support this pledge with our lives. The formalities were over. Now the town and the men could get acquainted. Sailors and babies don't need to speak the same language. During the week, the men visited the factories. Lieutenant Burroughs and Squadron Leader Parks gave the workers first-hand accounts of what their weapons had done. It was good to hear such things. Good to feel they were all working and fighting together with such men as these. And have a chance to exchange experiences.